My pile of orphan blocks has gotten out of hand, and it is time to put them all together into a sample quilt, or 4 maybe. So today I'm going to show you how I take all of these different sized blocks and arrange them so that they come together into a nice cohesive sampler quilt. So I have gone through all of my blocks and sorted out the really large blocks because they're a little unwieldy to work with in the camera. So I'm not going to let them go to waste. I think I'm going to piece them into a backing for this quilt, which I think will be a lot of fun. So I have my more reasonably sized blocks, and they range from about 8 inches all the way up to about 16 inches. So I am now going to make a list of all of the blocks that I have. And I'm going to do that using this download that I have made for you guys. There is a chart on the first page that has a grid that we will be putting these blocks into. And then the second page is a million little squares that are all scaled to fit inside the grid on the first page. And these are all the finished measurements of your blocks. So if you measure it and it's 12.5 by 12.5, that's a 12-inch finished square. Now I have my trusty Sharpie collection here. I am going to just make some notations of the colors of each block so that I can distribute the colors as I would like. But you can label your squares in any way that makes sense to you, even if it's just the name of the block. Like this is a Dutchman's puzzle block, so I could write Dutchman's puzzle on the block. So I'm going to go through my stack and label all of the squares that I need for my quilt, and then we will get started on our layout. So I have my blocks here, and now it is a matter of laying them out on our grid. Now, each of the squares on this grid is 20 inches to scale with these blocks. I don't want to make a 100 by 100 quilt, so I am going to limit myself to these top 9 blocks, since I'm aiming for about a 60 by 60 quilt. And now it's just a matter of laying your blocks onto the grid, and you can do this however you would like. I recommend trying to keep as many within these squares as you can, since that's going to make assembly at a later point much easier. So I'm going to align this Dutchman's puzzle block with the corner of this square on the grid rather than placing it in the center. Now we may get to the point where we need to overlap these a little bit, but I'm going to place my biggest blocks in a way that's going to make assembly as easy as possible. So I'm going to start with my big blocks and just stick them in there. Since these are tiny little pieces of paper, we'll be able to rearrange them as much as we want. But this will just give us an idea of how we want this quilt to come together. So now we're to this point where we don't have any obvious spaces for this 12 by 12 inch block to go without overlapping one of the blocks we already have down. So now we need to start shuffling, or we could just leave these blocks out. If you prefer a little more space around all your blocks, you don't have to use them all, but if you want to fit them in, then we might need to do a little bit of rearranging. So I have these 2 blocks here in the upper left corners of each of their blocks in the grid. So if I move this down, then I have enough room to put another block between them. So I have a layout that I'm really happy with, and now I have a couple of options. I could use some tape and tape all of these little squares down. I could remove them and draw the square in so it's on a flat piece of paper. Whatever system works for you, I'm going to go the slightly higher tech route, and I'm just going to take a picture of this layout with my camera on my iPad, because now we need to do the math for all of the little filler pieces. So here we have our picture of our layout, and now we can do some math to find out what size pieces we need to cut for all of these little background rectangles in our quilt. Now there are 2 things that we know when we look at this picture. We know that these squares, these big squares in the grid that we were working with, measure 20 inches square. And then we also know the measurement of all of our blocks because it's written right on there. We measured all of our blocks and we have that information. So we can use those 2 things to find the measurements of all the little rectangles in between. So let's start in this bottom right corner. We have a 20-inch square with a 12-inch block that we have placed in the corner. So we know that we're going to have to add a seam line because we can't sew an L-shaped piece to a block, or we can, but we would be dealing with partial seams and it would be fussy. So we're just going to add a seam line right here to divide this L-shaped piece into 2 rectangles. And now we need to find the sizes. So we know that it is as tall as the block next to it, which is 12 inches. Now to find this measurement, we know that this whole block is 20 inches, and we have already used 12 of them, so that leaves us with 8. So this rectangle is 12 by 8 inches finished. We will add our seam allowances in a moment when we're done with all this math. But we are just going to repeat this process to find all of the rectangles in the quilt. We can move to this block. Now, this rectangle here is the full block on our grid. So it is going to be 20 inches by the height, which is going to be 20 inches minus the 16 that's taken up in this block, which leaves us with 4. So that's a 20 by 4 inch rectangle. The side rectangle will be 16 inches since that's the height of the block. And then it will also be 4 inches because it, again, is 20 inches, the size of the block that we're in, minus the 16 inches we've used. So 16 by 4. And I'm going to continue that simple subtraction for all of the rectangles in this quilt. Now we have just a few little rectangle spaces left, and they're the trickier ones because they have blocks that are straddling our grid lines. But it's no different to do the math here. Now, this rectangle here straddles that line on our grid. We know it is 12 inches high because it shares a seam right here with this block. And we still know that from here to here is 20 inches. So we know that 20 minus 12 is 8. Now we're seeing the same numbers pop up a lot, and that's because we're using blocks that are 12 inches or 16 inches. So 20 minus 16 is always going to be 4. 20 minus 12 is always going to be 8. So you're going to see those numbers pop up a lot in your rectangle math. So we have this final little rectangle in here, and that rectangle is going to be 10 inches wide because we know it matches up with this block. So 10. And we know that from here to here is 20 inches, from here to here. And we've already used 10 of it, so this has to be a 10 by 10 inch square. While we have all this mapped out, how do we tackle actually sewing it? And the first thing we're going to do is come up with our big seam lines. We're looking for seam lines that go all the way across the quilt. So, like from here to here, this seam line is uninterrupted from top to bottom. We have another one here from side to side. And that's enough to get us started. Those will be the last seams that we sew in this quilt. We'll have a 4 patch that comes together to finish our quilt. Now from there, this is still kind of a big area to put together. So let's look for some secondary seams. We're looking for things that go all the way across from a seam line to the edge of the quilt. So here's one, here's another one, and here is one. So we're getting down to a little bit smaller pieces here. Let's take it one step further. As long as we go from seam to seam in this step, we're doing a great job. We're going to be able to get this down into manageable chunks. So now we have it broken down into just a block and a background piece, or a block and 2 background pieces. These are really simple little chunks that we can tackle. So I'm going to start probably right here, and I'm going to cut my 2 background pieces. Now remember, these are labeled as 12 by 8, but we need to add those seam allowances back in because these are finished measurements. So I'm going to cut a 12.5 by 8.5 inch rectangle and a 20.5 by an 8.5 inch rectangle. And I'm going to sew them to this block. My dog is snoring. And that will form this corner of the quilt. And then I can move on to, say, this one. I'll cut my 2 background pieces, 16.5 by 4.5 and 20.5 by 4.5, and sew them to this block. And I'm just going to move around the quilt doing that until I have all of my segments together. And then I can start sewing these yellow seams to start stitching them together. And then once I have all the yellow seams done, I can move on to the orange seams. And then finally the red seams. And then I'm done. I have a whole quilt together. Now I'm going to try to use some of the scraps from the bundle that I originally used for this quilt as I assemble it. And I'm going to see how much I can really use up. And then I will start using the white background fabric that I used throughout the other blocks. So it is a few days later, and I have finished sewing all of my blocks to the background pieces and other blocks that we divided our quilt top up into in the last segment. So I have a lot of pieces that look like this, a block with a piece of background, or here's a block with 2 pieces of background. And now it's time to assemble all these together. So if we look at the diagram, I've sewn all these little chunks together, all these background piece and a piece of background. And now my job is to either lay out this whole quilt if you do have a design wall, or if you don't, you can just use the diagram and continue sewing them together at the seam lines. So we're ready to sew all of those yellow seams. And that's my job now. So I'm going to find this Flying Dutchman's puzzle piece and this little 10 by 10 16 patch and sew them together. So here is my Dutchman's puzzle with this little 2-inch piece on the side, and next to it is going to go my 16 patch, just like that. I have these 2 pieces now that fit nicely together. They are exactly the same size. So I'm going to sew this seam and then continue with all the yellow seams. So I just finished my last yellow seam, dividing these 2 segments right here in the upper left corner of my quilt. And now my quilt is in 7 big pieces, and it is time to tackle the orange seams in our diagram. So I'm going to start just grabbing 2 pieces that are joined by an orange seam and sewing them together. It doesn't matter what order you tackle it in. All the orange seams are independent. And once you're done with all the orange seams, we'll be down to 4 big pieces. And then our quilt just comes together like a 4 patch. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up all these seams, and we'll come together when the top is complete. Well, that didn't take long at all. Those final few seams came together really quickly, and that's one of the things that I like most about sampler quilts. Because all the blocks are different sizes and different patterns, there really aren't a lot of seams and a lot of points to match up during those final seam lines. So as long as they are the same length, then they go together pretty quickly. I'm a little undecided how I feel about using the scraps from the bundle for the spaces between the blocks in the center of the quilt. I kind of like it, but most of the fabrics I had left over were black or very dark, so that's what's showing up in those big pieces. And I don't know how crazy I am about it, but it's fine. It's done. It's a sampler quilt, and that is what the fabric line was. So I think it'll be fine in the end. I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, so it's been like an hour, not even, and I tried to live with the black squares. I even tried to do like some fusible applique over them to make them less dark, but I just couldn't do it. And so I am in the middle of ripping those pieces out. It's just a few seams that I had to take apart, and I've already cut the white to put inside. So, lesson learned. I should have gone with my gut, and as soon as I started sewing these pieces together and I didn't think I liked it, I should have stopped right then, but I didn't, and now I'm paying the price. The next step for this top is the long arm, and I have a few strategies for quilting sampler quilts like this that we can go over in the next video. So I hope you join me for that one, and we'll draw out a bunch of options and talk about benefits and the drawbacks of each one. So until then, happy quilting, and I hope you are able to use up a lot of your orphan blocks making some sampler quilts.